This is Grifola frondosa, otherwise known as sheep's head, ram's head, hen of the woods, and also maitake. The Japanese love this mushroom so much that they named it maitake, because everyone who found this mushroom would dance upon finding it. That's right, maitake loosely translates to the dancing mushroom. Why such a joyous occasion when finding this mushroom? Well, because its edibility is choice, and also it is highly medicinal. Hit that follow or subscribe button and stick around because we're covering it all in today's episode. Grifola is the genus that this mushroom is in, and then the second part of its taxonomic name, frondosa, comes from the structure of its fruiting body, the fronds. The wavy brackets that it grows in are called fronds. Grifola, the genus, frondosa. Grifola frondosa is a bracket polypore. Now, what is a polypore? Not every mushroom is going to have gills, but most people, when they think mushroom, they think of gills. Rather than gills, you can see here that Grifola frondosa has a bunch of small pores on the bottom section of the mushroom. Polypore, many or multiple pores. The underside of the frond, typically white on Grifola frondosa, has all of these tiny itty-bitty little pores that it drops its spores out of. The same function as gilled mushrooms, just different in structure. This specimen that we have here appears to be rather large, but clusters of maitake can get up to 100 pounds. And the great thing is that there are no known toxic lookalikes. I didn't say there was not lookalikes though. Luckily, all lookalikes of the maitake mushroom are edible, just not as choice, like the black staining polypore. A mushroom that looks almost identical to this guy, but whenever it is damaged, it bruises black. Now, much of the data I've read on this guy suggests that it is native to the northeastern part of North America, also Europe and Asia. How could this guy be native to such a vast territory? Well, it's been around for a very, very long time, more than likely around the time of Pangea. Maitake predates the shifting of the tectonic plates that created all of the different continents. Now, where and when are we going to find this lovely, earthy, aromatic mushroom? Maitake likes the wet and cool climate, so right around the time that summer starts turning to autumn. Maitake likes to grow at the base of hardwoods. Usually you can find these guys in old growth forests, but they really like the Quercus. They really like oaks, but can also be found underneath maple and elm. Now these guys are very camouflage, and it gets the name hen of the woods because it almost looks like some sort of fowl, almost like a hen, sitting at the base of one of its choice trees. Now it takes a keen eye to be able to see this guy. I set it down underneath a tree in the leaves, and you can see just how camouflage it becomes. Now let's talk about the life cycle of this fella. These guys seemingly prefer red oaks. Yes, they will still grow on whites, but they tend to prefer red oaks. But not just red oaks. They like them to be damaged, wounded, or beginning to decay. Now, there are three ecological roles of the fungi kingdom. There are saprophytes, there are mutualists, and there are parasites. Saprophytes like to break down already deceased organic material, typically breaking down the cellulose and lignin, returning the minerals and the vitamins and nutrients back to the soil, a very important role in our ecosystem. Mutualists will create a mycorrhizal relationship that benefits both the host and also the fungi. Then parasites take from the hosts without doing anything to benefit the host. This guy is kind of a mixture between the saprophyte and a parasite. The maitake, like a saprophyte, does like the weakened host, but maitake is considered a weak parasite, for it does not quickly accelerate the termination of its host. So how does this guy reproduce? Hen of the woods belongs to a group called the Basidiomycetes, meaning it has specialized spore structures that contain basidia. Not a lot of people know that some mushrooms, they do it. Think of this next part like the chromosomes of human beings. Maitake requires haploid spores, meaning a single set of unpaired chromosomes from two compatible separate mating strains. When they merge, the germination of the haploid spores begins the life cycle of maitake, creating hyphae leading to mycelium. It will then begin to colonize the root system of its host, eventually growing mature and creating this fruiting body. Then it all repeats itself. The merger of these chromosomes and the necessity for the merger of chromosomes is another feature to the fungal kingdom that makes them closer to animals than they are to plants. Now, what about their flavor? What about how to use or prepare them in a dish? Well, first and foremost, these guys are kind of a pain in the butt to clean because of all the deep ridges and because of the fanning of all the fronds. Getting between all of them and making sure that there's no bugs or debris or dirt is kind of a challenge, but breaking them down and using a toothbrush to scrub out all of the impurities is a good way to start. Now, after you break down all the fronds and you clean them up, you can give them a good wash and then you can dry them out because they rehydrate rather effectively. Now, you can also eat these guys raw, although it's always recommended to cook your mushrooms. It's best to get to these guys before they have a dry, crispy, rolling frond tip. That means that they are a little bit on the firmer side and are not exactly at their best edibility. You also want to check for any sort of signs of bug tunneling. These guys lend their flavor to any stew, and they also make fantastic stir fry. You want to get to them while they're still supple and full of water before they dry out and become very fibrous. Now, what about the medicinal aspect of maitake? As always, do your own research, but maitake is a notorious immunostabilizer. It is great for folks with type 2 diabetes, and it's also anti-cancerous. Simply throwing these guys into a pan and frying them up can activate some of those compounds notorious for benefiting our health. These medicinal properties were identified a long time ago in Eastern medicine, and it's just now starting to catch up in Western medicine. The medicinal benefit that I really like from maitake is the immunostabilization, meaning an overactive immune system can be calmed and a weak and deficient immune system can be strengthened. Have you ever tried maitake mushroom? If you have, what's your favorite way to cook it? I'd love to hear all the different ways you guys use maitake in the comment section. Guys, this is also an example of the more in-depth content that I will be doing for my subscribers. I hope this video was informative. I hope that you enjoyed learning all about maitake with me. And more than anything, I hope you stay wild. And one last thing, guys. I cannot say it enough. Please, make sure to do your own research. Any questions and comments, please leave them in the comment section. I love you all. Stay wild.